This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 64.
It's so easy to learn from other people's mistakes rather than losing a bunch of money. It discourages you from doing things that are stupid. So,
this is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host, who has major problems with being overly aggressive in church league volleyball. Come on now, ClayTrader.
So we're going to do something a little different here. As you just heard, the fun fact, I maybe take church league volleyball a bit too serious. It's co-ed, so obviously that means there's some girls involved. So there's 3 guys and 3 girls that play. And like I said, I don't know if there's any facts to this, but luckily, IT Nate, our producer of the show, his wife is one of the players on the team. So she was willing to have a quick little interview here and give me her thoughts. We have not discussed what she's going to say. So hopefully, I don't know, we'll see. So Stacy, first off, maybe you want to be called Stacy or should I call you IT Nate's wife?
Stacy's fine.
Okay, Stacy. Well, welcome to the show first off, Stacy.
Thank you.
So what are your thoughts on this? Am I a little overly aggressive with church league volleyball?
Yes. There was many nights. We play on Thursday nights, and it's usually kind of a friend group that plays. We're all talking about the game afterwards. Look up, no Clay. He was so ticked about how we played, or how he played, that he is nowhere to be found while we are all joking and laughing about how the game went.
Hey, all right, this is jacked up. The one time I actually did that is the only time you're bringing it up. What about context?
No, you did that multiple times.
Hey, you're a smart girl. You understand context. You are taking this way out of context.
No. There was also that one time.
Oh, great.
I don't know if it's over competitive because you get cocky.
Who?
We were playing against another team from our church, so we know them quite well. And Clay was fairly confident the ball was going out of bounds. Put his head above the line and said, "It's out." Gets nailed in the side of the head by the volleyball, which was clearly still in bounds.
that was from like 3 years. How do you even remember that? That was like 3 years ago.
That was one of the funnier moments I've ever seen in my life.
I can't believe you. I forgot about that until you just brought it up. But have I ever like stolen the ball from you or anything?
Yes. Me and my sister, we rotated by weeks because I was pregnant and then she was pregnant. But she was still pretty pregnant and we were there watching. I think you might have knocked her to the ground trying to get to the ball, if I remember correctly.
I did hit Shelly once, and a pregnant belly is like a big like water balloon almost because I kind of just bounced right off of it. So, but all right. So maybe I am a little bit overly aggressive. So, well, hey, thank you for stopping by. And thank you for being honest. And I guess maybe not thank you for being honest.
Anytime I can call you out on your competitiveness is good, right?
Yeah, maybe we'll have to have you back another time for a little guest segment. Would you ever come back?
Maybe.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot for hanging out.
No problem.
Maybe the thought has crossed your mind, hey, where's Chezz at? I have not heard his voice. For those of you that are new listeners to the podcast, Chezz is our normal co-host, but he had some other commitments, so he was not able to be here for this interview. So I just flew solo and conducted the interview on my own. One little cliff note about the interview, I had a pretty bad cold during it, so that's why I sound like a mutant and not my normal self, but I'm still totally audible, just not quite as good sounding as what I normally sound like. So just keep that in mind. But today we are talking with Charlie out in Colorado. That'll make a little bit more sense as we get into the interview there. But he is a member of the chat room and ClayTrader University, and I had a really good time. He's got my sense of humor from what I've gathered, so he's got a pretty quick wit, but very interesting interview. He's a younger guy, so there's lots of little things that he's done that were good, he's done that were bad, and he gives in probably easily top 3 of all the podcasts so far. His little kind of breakdown on greed and how it works from a psychology standpoint, especially for somebody his age, it was fantastic. It got my adrenaline flowing, and it was, I mean, that's all I can really say is I think I teared up a little bit, and I just It was great, and that's more towards the end of the interview, so definitely stick around for that. But like I said, he summarizes how greed works in just a fantastic way. So without further ado, let's get this solo flying mission underway. Charlie, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Good, good. We were discussing earlier that since Chezz is not joining us, that both you and I can feel free to rip on him the whole time because and you brought this point up, he cannot defend himself. So well done, Charlie, in terms of locating the leverage that we hold over Chezz currently.
Yeah, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I'm really excited for there's a lot of possibilities here.
There are. There's lots of roads we could take. And first off, I would need to give Charlie you a shout out. You actually approached us and said, "Hey, I would be willing to be a backup guest on the show." And I get the impression that it's kind of hard to get people for the show. It is hard to get people for the show. A lot of people are scared. So I think you're in a select few from that regard too. And you actually volunteered to be a guest. So all kidding aside, thank you very much. You definitely make our life easier by just volunteering. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, see, I was under the impression, I don't know why I was expecting this, but I was thinking that you just have like my card in your back pocket, and like 6 months from now, maybe you'd hit me up, but now it's just happening right now. So I wasn't actually nervous before, like you say, many people are, but then as soon as, Nate hit me back, like the same business day, and I was like, oh man, this is going down right now. So I should probably turn into a successful trader really quickly.
Well, I hope you just started throwing huge amounts of cash at penny stocks and crossing your fingers, and hopefully they went up, and that way you have a great story, because that is a true story. The same day you emailed me, I'm like, all right, great. So I sent them over to Nate, who takes care of the logistics, and here we are. So, and also it's a Saturday morning right now, and we're hanging out. So, so thank you again for that. Hanging out on a Saturday, it doesn't really get much better than that. So we should probably hop in here and start to, actually, no, we're not. What are all those pictures behind you? Because I see you on webcam, and I'm fascinated. What are those, like a bunch of PhD degrees or what up there? I mean, are you some sort of closet genius?
I'm not. I can definitely assure you of that. I'm actually in my boss's office right now. I'm at work, and he shouldn't be here for another 2 hours. So I have a very tight schedule of everything. So yeah. I kind of snuck into work a couple hours before I'm supposed to be here, and I'm using my boss's office. So that's all his. He's a closet genius, except yeah. So that's all his stuff.
You're not going to get in trouble for any of this, are you?
No way. I
don't like words sneaking into boss's office. Only have 2 hours. I feel like we're on some sort of secret mission now.
You're getting the wrong idea. I cleared it with him. It's just his Wi-Fi is better than mine, so that's why.
Okay.
And also, I don't like to be stressing out trying to get from home to work. I just rather be here all the time.
So I guess what are you doing working on a Saturday? But that's a whole nother topic. So let's actually get to you now and trading. So where did your whole journey start? What got you interested in the markets, and kind of what kindled you enough to want to pursue it and get more hands-on?
Well, so I know you like establishing a time frame, so we'll get that out of the way right now.
I'm a big fan of the time frame. You're right.
So summer 2012, graduated high school, had no direction whatsoever. Didn't know what I was going to do. But I wanted to be successful. There was this sense of urgency that I have to be successful because, I don't want to be living in a van down by the river in 10 years. And all my friends are, making bank being doctors. So I get several jobs, and I'm going to a community college, and I get involved in MLM, which multi-level marketing. Never do that unless you're willing to sell your soul and you like cults. Anyway, don't do that. So just fast forward to 2015 now, beginning of 2015. And pretty much nothing's really changed. I'm still working, except for I found one good job that I like. And I ditched the MLM, obviously. And I ditched the apartment, got a house. And I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm online, and I'm reading this article, and I don't remember what it was, but advertisement popped up, and it was for the Motley Fool. I don't know if we're okay to name drop here. I don't know, whatever.
No, that's fine. They're fine.
And it's one of those things where it's like a video, but you can't fast forward it. It's just a video by itself. And it's brilliant marketing because you can't skip forward. You don't know how long it is. You know how long this guy's going to keep talking, but he just draws you in, and he's talking about this stock, and he has such a great track record, and I'm hooked, and I'm like, wow, this is great. I mean, why haven't I heard about this earlier? And he was talking about, they make chips for Apple. I think he was actually talking about NXPI. I'm not really sure. I never really looked into it after that. But anyways, after that video played, I was pretty much, that's probably the turning point where I said, okay, I need to figure out what the stock markets are. Before that, I kind of had a general idea of what they were, and I heard of Bitcoin, and every time like people would bring up Bitcoin, I was like, wow, I should really learn what Bitcoin is, because it seems like people are just making bank off of this. And to this day, I still don't know what Bitcoin is. But if Chezz was here, he could answer that question for us.
Yeah, well, he's a scumbag and he's not here. So, I mean, so sorry, viewers. Chezz cannot help you out. So, well, first off, how long was that video? You piqued my interest. Did you watch the whole thing? How long did it turn out to be?
I watched the whole thing. It was probably a good half hour, 45 minutes.
Are you really?
Yeah. No,
so
and
he was good then. If he sucked you in.
It's amazing, and I'm sure somebody listening knows exactly what I'm talking about, because I mean, it's just this blank web page. There are no navigation buttons at all, and you don't know like what this guy is talking about. You don't know what his angle is. He's just talking to you about this stock that's going to make you millions of dollars. And so you're like, okay, I guess it's in my best interest to at least finish the video. I want to be an informed person. So, yeah.
Wow, yeah. Well, I guess props to this guy who sucked you in for 45 minutes. But at least to give him also credit, at least he got you interested in the market. So now, were you searching – how did you stumble across this video? Were you searching for stock market stuff at that point, or was it just some sort of general search that all of a sudden took you off on a tangent and all of a sudden you landed on this video? What were you looking for that got you to that point?
I was probably just procrastinating on something that I was supposed to be doing, maybe like schoolwork or something, and I just was reading some financial article just because I didn't really know what the stock markets were at that point.
So it was basically a straight up accident. Is that a fair kind of?
That's exactly, yeah.
Okay, so you accidentally stumble upon this video. It gets you, okay, there's a stock, and a stock trades obviously in the stock market. It can make you a lot of money. So that's what piqued your interest. So then where's your next step from here? Where did you go and open an account, or did you just kind of put it on the back shelf for a little bit? Where was your next kind of few steps?
Well, yeah, during the video, I was pumped. I was ready to just put all my life savings in this, whatever it was. But after it stopped, I kind of diluted the Kool-Aid a little bit, and I just kind of did some research, and I was like, all right, probably being a little unrealistic here. So I went and did some research about the stock markets, and I'm getting really excited. And I just thought that, the stock market was a place where, it rains $100 bills and people just get rich and no one ever cries, and it's just a happy place. And I'm just, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So I go to all the places you could possibly go for information that is credible. I don't think Reddit is up there on the list, but I went to Reddit, and yeah, I'm stupid. But I went to
they're all PhDs there, so I thought that's a great place to go. I mean, they all are like professionals in their thinking. So
every single account holder at Reddit has some sort of PhD in some. It's amazing how many smart people there are there, and they're all right there. They're nowhere else.
They're all millionaires too. They're all millionaires too.
Yeah, they're all millionaires. So I'm reading all these subreddits, and I'm hyped up, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know what a bid or an ask was. I didn't know that on your watch list, like you had, those numbers were the last transaction. I didn't know why they were moving. I thought, they were like, they had like playing bingo and they're rolling the bingo cage, and whatever ball falls out, like that's the price for the next hour or something. I had no idea how they determined the price. I just thought, well, this stock said this. So I'm getting really excited, and I'm on the penny stock subreddit, and at this time they were talking about ESIG and ECIG and
ECIG. I remember that one. Yep.
And so I am like frantically trying to figure out how to do this stock thing, and I opened like 3 brokerages. One was Trade King, one I don't remember the name of, and one was TD Ameritrade, because I didn't realize that you had to wait like 3 days for your account to be funded for the ACH application, whatever thing.
Right. Yep.
And I also didn't realize it was like a rule at like the federal level or something. So I was like, well, Trade King sucks. They won't give me my money right. I'll just go to this broker and I'll give them $2,000 and, see that customer service. Yeah. And so I didn't realize that. So,
well, let me start. So you were so frantic, you were so pumped up that you opened up 3 different accounts because you were just trying to get your money in there so quickly. Am I understanding this right?
Yeah, and later.
Well, let me make a comment on this. For you as listeners, this is why what key word that he said, and then the actions. The word frantically. If you are frantic when you were first getting started, it's not going to end well. Take me, for example. I'm assuming Charlie's story is not going to end well. I don't know, but that's my assumption here. But if you are brand new and you think that the numbers on your screen are like bingo balls being twirled around and you're frantic, please slow down. That's but you were really frantic. You were frantic to the point of, I need my money now. And opened up 3 different accounts. So you are definitely a firster. I don't think we've ever met anybody as pumped up as you that caused you to go as frantic as you went. That's crazy. 3 different accounts just to get started. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but fascinating point there and pretty funny. But I mean, wow, you're apparently a go-getter, because when you start getting focused on something, I guess you get focused on it. So anyway, sorry to cut you off, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I don't remember which broker I used to make my first trade, but by the time my account had been funded, I missed the e-cig, thing. It actually didn't move as much as as far as pennies go. It wasn't something, crazy, astronomical. And then after that, I played whatever was on.
Wait, so did you did take the e-cig trade though?
No, I didn't. By the time it had jumped and it was falling by the time I got my account funded, so I kind of stayed away from that.
Out of curiosity though, I'm just from this, like, so were you still on Reddit at that point when it was falling?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you saw the people, hey, buy the dips, weak hands, buy an opportunity. Did you see any of that sort of stuff?
I did, and I don't really know how. I maybe I'm just a skeptical person, but I was kind of always under the impression that, the late night infomercial tactics that you always talk about. I was under the impression that all this is pretty much a scam. And maybe there's a chance that one of these will, make it into a big company. But, I've had friends that tried to start businesses, and it's really difficult. And to have all these guys saying every single stock, they pick another stock, every week. It's just not really that hard to kind of see the trend there. Someone picks a hot stock, it goes up, it falls down. So I was kind of in the mindset of get in really fast, get your money, and get out before it, plummets. But I didn't have any way of doing that. I didn't have any, way of managing a trade, but that's what I was trying to do.
Okay, so you actually knew that going in with this penny stock is you're not investing into the company. You're just trying to play the momentum. Maybe you didn't know it exactly at the time, but you were just looking to scalp in and out of the trade. Is that pretty much?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, well that is a little different. A lot of people, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I went in from like I'm some sort of great investor, but at least you understood the dynamic of, yeah, this is crazy. I want to just play that momentum. You were just a little bit too late. So, all right, that makes sense then why you wouldn't buy the dip, because a lot of people, if they miss it, then they get suckered into, reading the message boards and social medias. Oh, great buying opportunity. Weak hands, pullback, and they buy and buy and buy and average down into oblivion. And so, yeah, well done on your part. So you missed e-cig. Where did you go from here? Because at least at this point, you now have your brokerage account open.
Yeah, so I missed e-cig, and don't give me too much credit because the Kool-Aid's coming later. And so I was just, I was playing whatever was hot on the penny stocks, and I didn't have any strategy. My quote unquote strategy was, if someone's talking about it, it's definitely going to go up that day because, there's hype. And I got to get in and get out within the market day, and hopefully, I get out before it starts plunging. And another note on being frantic. At one point, I should have done this in the first place. I bank with USAA. And they do my banking and insurance. And if I was smart when I was first getting in, I would have opened a brokerage with them. They already have my money. They know, I don't have to wait. But you have to read the fine print when you're opening a brokerage. If you're playing penny stocks, specifically ones that are, lower than the commissions that you will pay per share, if they're valued at lower than the per share commissions on a penny stock, which is usually maybe like 1/100 of a cent or something per share. And I sold and bought these penny stock shares, and I was so frantic that I knew that if I pulled a Clay when he started stock trading back with his bank when he first started.
Yep, my regional bank. Yep.
And but it was actually even worse, I think, because though the dollar amount is smaller, I paid $50 in commissions, but what makes it worse is that I absolutely knew that it was, you pay 1/100 of a penny per share up to 1,000 shares. And I knew I could, and I had free shares. I had free trades, because it was a new account. So I had free trades up until that percent, or up until that level of, so I could block it off. I could sell it in blocks and it would be free. But I was so frantic. I was like, oh, I don't care. I just got to sell now. So I sold everything, and it was like, whoa, bam, hit with that $50 commission. And I could have just sold it off in 2 or 3 chunks. I would have been fine. But,
you got frantic. Your emotions took over. Yes.
Yeah. So just pretty much playing whatever was hot on the subreddit at that time, and I didn't really. I was kind of learning. I bought like 5 books off Amazon, like Penny Stock Trading for Dummies and Stock Market for Dummies, and Technical Analysis for the Rest of Us, and there was a line chart book, by the way. There was no candles in that, but I knew some good
powerful.
penny standards. Yeah, it was amazing. So
are you telling me that just going and buying books on Amazon didn't quite fill in all the gaps that you needed and kind of learn?
I was under the impression, and I was under the impression that, it's not like we're trying to launch a rocket onto Mars. It's not like we have 1,000 different variables and they all have to be calculated to the nth degree, or going to just be, aimlessly drifting off the Milky Way. At the end of the day, it's not rocket science. The price is either going to go up or it's going to go down. So these people that are like putting all this stock into, there'll be due diligence pages that are 10 pages long. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm still going to give you a 50-50 chance on this, because it's either going to go up or it's going to go down. So I didn't put much credit into the idea that I don't really know. Interesting, just happenstance. I downloaded an app on my phone. It's like a roulette game, and you start with $1,000, and you can spin the roulette wheel. It's 50-50 chance, just like I thought the stock market was. And wouldn't you know it, you can bet, you can wager $5 of your $1,000. You can wager all of it. Wouldn't you know it, if you start with $1,000 on a roulette wheel, it will always go to zero. You will never, you might get to $20,000 before it goes to zero, but eventually you're going to get bored and you're going to say, well, risk $5 at a time. We'll risk $200 at a time. Well, I'll just go all in. And eventually you're going to lose all your money if you don't have, because there's no way to implement RVR. It's just a 50-50 chance. So I don't know if that's really relatable, but.
No, it is. It's totally relatable, because in all actuality, you're right. I've seen multiple studies out there, and this is, some people rip on charts. They say, look, there's been studies, and they cite the studies, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. You're right. And all the studies always boil it down to, yeah, if you were to just randomly guess, you're wrong about 50% of the time, and you're right about 50% of the time. But with the roulette wheel, like you said, there's absolutely nothing you can do. There's no external planning that you can do to try to put that into your favor. But to your point, with risk versus reward within the markets and with charts, at least what we use around here, yeah, you can leverage things. You may very well only be right 50% of the time, but when you're right and you let the right work for you for as long as it wants to be right, as opposed to you being wrong and saying, all right, wrong, peace out, I'm gone, then you can leverage things into your favor and let the numbers play out in your favor. So no, that's a great example, and very good point on the human emotion, because you're right. Eventually people are going to get bored. They're seeking adrenaline. They're seeking fun. So like, screw this $5. Let's just do whatever. And all of a sudden, all it takes is that one, and see you later. So going back to kind of your trading, how are these trades actually going? You made it sound like you're kind of doing quite a bit of trades through all this. You're playing this, you're playing that. Are you mainly making money, or is it inconsistent, or, how exactly, what's your P&L looking like?
Well, I originally funded my account with $2,000, which for me, that's quite a chunk of change. Probably a little bit more than I probably should have put in, but we're okay. And I just got lucky in that maybe the first couple of trades I made, it put me above that $2,000, but for the most part, it was kind of a wash. And all I wanted to get was that $3,000 mark. I just need to get to $3,000, and that's a 50% gain, and I'm a trader. And so I'm getting there really slowly. I actually got worse as I progressed, because, at the beginning I was frantic, but I was scared. It was $2,000 was a lot of money for me, so I'm putting in $50 at a time. I got into THCZ at point. It was half a penny, and I sold when it got to .006, because I was like, oh my god, it's gonna crash. And I made maybe $2 on that trade. I have no idea, but I actually got worse because it was just like the roulette thing. I just got bored, so I was like, okay, and once you get a gainer just out of chance, that's $200, $300, you're like, wow, that was amazing. And it's like drugs. You can't go back to less than that. You have to progress onwards. You have to, so now I'm going to risk $1,000 on this.
Yeah, because now, did you do this? Did you go and pull out your calculator and play the what if game? What if I had put in $150? What if I had put in $500? You're like, oh crap, I'm a good stock trader because I just had a winning trade, but I was stupid in the sense of I only put in $50. And then all of a sudden I'm assuming you're going to head to, all of a sudden it's, oh wow, I'm putting in a lot more money. And it is like a drug, because certainly you can't go smaller.
Yeah.
You're picking winning stocks. Why would you not increase your share size and put more money in? So is that pretty much kind of the path you're headed on here?
That's pretty much how I was. I was all about the what if game. I was pulling out my calculator. I was doing work, and I had my phone in one hand, and I was switching back between the trading app, and the calculator. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be a millionaire in no time. But it did start to sink in eventually because when I first started this, I was dead set. I thought I was gonna be a millionaire in like 2 weeks, and I was actually like, how am I going to explain to my boss, I'm going to roll up in this fancy new car, and I'm not really going to want to work that much. I'll still come over and visit, but, I mean, come on. I got yachts to float. I don't know.
Yachts? I can totally relate to that because I got into the market, and I was actually married during my senior year of college. So I remember having the same thoughts, and it was, I'm going to have the conversation with my wife that, babe, I don't think I need to. I've been in college for 4. Yes, I was on the 5-year college plan. I don't think I'm going to. I've been here for like 4.5 years. I don't think that I'm going to need to finish out this college degree because this muffler company that I'm invested in is going to turn us into millionaires. So I never had the conversation with her, thank God, but I was on. So I can totally relate to where your mind, you honestly think that these penny stocks are going to turn you into a millionaire. And looking back, it's like, I'd like to kick myself in the teeth, but it's like, what are you doing? But so I can totally relate to those sorts of thoughts and conversations. So Charlie is not by any, I don't know, maybe just me. It could just be me and you that have only had that in the entire world. But something tells me that a lot of people can relate to I'm going to be a millionaire. And you start planning out your life based on that.
Yeah. So there was this disconnect because, I was dead set on being a millionaire, and, months go by and I'm still trading whatever's hot on the penny stock subreddit. And, I'm not doing horribly. I don't think it ever actually dipped below 2,000 just because of that lucky first couple of trades. But it never got to 3,000. I'm just kind of wishy-washy. There's not really any trend. My account was stuck in a channel pattern, if you will.
There you go. Let me ask this because I'm fascinated. How did you deal with losing trades at this point in time? Because, if you never dropped below 2,000, that implies that you never took some sort of gigantic, monstrous loser. So I'm sure it was, you didn't call it risk management at this point in time, but how are you dealing with the losers? Because a lot of people do drop below what they, started with. So what were you doing from, like I said, quote unquote, risk management that was keeping your account alive at least?
I'm going to attribute that all to luck. I didn't have any sort of risk management. It was, but how I dealt with losses was I get really, really frustrated with myself because I was thinking, 50-50 chance. I'm entitled to win at least half the time. So when I have like 3 losing trades in a row, I'm like getting frustrated, like I'm owed this or something, this is unfair. The market's not being fair to me. And so I'm like, I'm just, I don't know. I don't really know. I was just so lost and I didn't know anything. And it took me so long to try and seek out like active, because it's so easy to go on Reddit and to see what people are talking about. That's so easy. But eventually, as my account's not making any progress, and I start to realize that even when I do win, it's not really the greatest feeling because it's like an empty win. And it's going to sound stupid to someone who hasn't traded because they're going to say, well, you made $300. How can you not be happy about that? But you start to feel like, all right, I made $300, but I have no idea where my next $300 is coming from. If I go on Reddit and there's no one posting there, I don't have a trade. I don't know what to do. And so it, just kind of sinks in the longer and longer. And eventually we get to November of 2015, and at this point there have been some places in my trading where my money was all tied up, so I just thought, I'll put another $1,000 in just for this because I'm not going to use it. I need to use it while my other money's tied up, and then my other money doesn't get tied up anymore, and I don't take it back out, of course, and then that happens again. So now I'm dealing with an account size of like $6,500. Which is not good in my personal financial situation because number one rule is you should never use money you can't afford to lose. And if I lose all of this money, it's just not going to be a great time. I'm not going to be able to pay my taxes at the end of the year. And
so the IRS is sitting here thinking, hey, Charlie, you cannot afford to lose that money. Talk about psychological pressure that you don't want to be putting on yourself is literally, if I lose this money, I can't pay taxes. That's a scary spot to be in.
Yeah. And I was, and it was all justified in my mind because I'm thinking, well, it's in my account, but of course I have enough self-control not to use this. That's a stupid thing to do. I would never do that. I'm a smart person. I'm a responsible adult. I wouldn't fall into that trap. So If you want to, it's a great example of a pump and dump. If you type in the AVXL chart from November, I think it's like November 3rd is when it peaked out. And
Of
this is
2015?
when 2015, yeah. This is when I, despite my best efforts, and there were a couple of mishaps along the way where I would read a little bit too much into the due diligence people were doing with their stocks, and I get a little bit of Kool-Aid in my system, but it wouldn't ever be anything major. And I realized my mistake. But then with AVXL, I was thinking this thing is going to the moon. It took me 7 months or 11 months. I don't know how long exactly, but the Kool-Aid finally started to get in, and I'm reading about AVXL, and I'm thinking this is going to the moon. They are going to cure Alzheimer's. They're going to cure every psychological disorder known to man, and it is going to go up to $700 a share. And I get in, and it's being pumped. And the Kool-Aid is so strong that, like, only a month ago, as this is being recorded, did I actually realize, oh my God, I was in the dump. I was in the dump stage of that. And that's what happened. It was a pump and dump. But it was so hardwired into my brain. This is going to the moon. I got in at like $9 one day with a sizable amount of cash. It was, it was probably about half my account. And it went up to 1177 for the day. That was the high of the day. It kept on going until the day ended. And I sold at like 1174, and then it was the high of the day. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm a professional trader. This is awesome. I just sold like the very top. I made $600 on that trade, and that was the biggest gainer I've ever had in my life. And I'm doing this like while I'm at work too, and I'm just looking at my phone, and I'm thinking, oh my God, $600! I'll just walk out right now. This is great. And and so I'm like, I'm just invincible. I can't do anything wrong. So the next day, it drops back down to 9, and I'm thinking, wow, that's great. That's so nice. I'm going to buy it right back into where I bought in yesterday. And it just tanks, and it just keeps falling. And I'm like, well, shoot, that sucks. We'll just wait till tomorrow. And so tomorrow comes along, and it's still dropping. And I'm thinking, that's impossible. They're curing Alzheimer's. I mean, that's amazing. This can't, it's fine. And at this point, I'm kicking myself because I knew what a stop loss was. And in the back of my mind, it was like, always use a stop loss. That's, safe trading. Always use a stop loss. So I didn't use a stop loss, and I was kicking myself because if I had used a stop loss, I wouldn't be in the situation, and I could just wait. And now today would be a great day to buy in because, it's not at $9. It's at $6. That's amazing. So it keeps dropping, and it gets to the point where I didn't even care. It was just funny to me. I was like, take it all. I don't care. It's just money. I don't care anymore. I'm done with this. This sucks.
So the denial stage here.
Yeah, I'm in the denial stage. I'm just in the, like, it's just like you've ever been so broke that it's just funny and you just don't even care. Turn off the lights. I don't care. Whatever. Anyway, so I find an opportunity to buy in lower.
To average down. I like how you masked that. An opportunity to buy in lower. Very nice. Very clever. Clever trick there.
Flip that one by you. Yeah, and I got in, and, it's just luck that I bought in like $4, and I bought in like $3.80. Or something along those lines, and I reached break even and then some because it went up a little bit. It didn't never even went close to maybe it was $14 instead of 11, but it never went close to those previous highs. But I did end up actually making money off of it. So at the end of the year, I had like $8,500 when I started with $6,500, and it's just pure luck that if it didn't go back up, I have no idea if I'd be talking to you right now because I might have just left. Trading left a sour taste in my mouth. I lost all my money. This sucks. But I just got lucky. I can't really attribute it to anything other than luck that it went back up. And I made $2,000 that year, and I'm thinking, all right, this is good. This is going well. And but along that way, I'm looking at this guy on YouTube doing all these charts, and
he sounds like a fantastic guy. Before you
he sounds like a really stellar fella.
He does. Yeah. I have a feeling I'd like this guy. So I don't know who he is, but I get the impression that I'd like to hang out with him someday.
Yeah. So, being on Reddit, because I thought Reddit was just, the wisdom or the fountain of wisdom, I heard about iHub, and I'm like, iHub sounds like a terrible place. Sounds like an awful, terrible place, and I'm never going to go there. And in my mind, I was like, well, I haven't been to iHub yet, so I haven't completely failed. And then with this AVXL trade, I was in such just chaos that I was like, all right, I'm going to iHub. And that's where I saw these AVXL videos, and I'm like looking at these videos that you're doing. This is ClayTrader, by the way. If you haven't put it together yet, I'm looking at Clay's videos on YouTube. He's doing, his daily charts on AVXL after the market closes every day. And I'm looking at this video for like some sort of answer. Like he's just tell me where to buy. Tell me if it's gonna go up. Like, please, why are you torturing me like this? You're so vague. I hate you. Like, just what do I do? Give me some guidance. And if you're looking at ClayTrader's videos right now, and you're in a similar spot, just know that that's probably not going to happen. But I just think like this guy looks like he has a pretty nice handle on this chart thing. And how come if he's so good at this and he's obviously aware of the AVXL chart, how come he's not trading it? That sounds weird. He has these live trade videos. I've never seen him trade AVXL before. And if he's so great, he obviously must know they're going to cure Alzheimer's. How come he's not in this stock right now? So I just kind of, years winding down, and I made $2,000, and I look into your stuff, and I'm like, this guy's okay. I saw your 10,000 calorie challenge thing, and I was like,
nice.
All right. And I don't want to admit this because that just makes me, I think subconsciously when I saw that video, I was like, all right, this guy's okay. This guy's trustworthy. I respect this guy. I mean,
because I could shove 10,000 calories in my mouth in one day. That awesome. Well, I don't know if that's a high bar or a low bar for you in terms of where your trustworthiness comes from, but can you eat 10,000 calories in one day? If yes, I trust. I mean, I don't know. I'll leave that for the viewers to decide, but that's funny. And thank you for admitting that, because that makes me laugh. And I'm going to tell my wife that because she was not a fan of that video. And I'm going to tell her, hey, you know what? That got me somebody to trust me by just pigging out on a day. So thank you for giving me some leverage that I can use in any sort of future discussions with my wife. So she's going to appreciate that. So, yeah, but that's funny. That's funny.
I don't know. I love food a lot. So when I saw that, I was like, all right, we're having a bonding moment right now. This guy's eating 10,000 calories. I would like to do that in the future. Maybe we can be friends. So, I go and I buy your Inner Circle membership, and it's $100. And I go in there, and I have no idea what anyone's talking about. People are talking about like dead bodies, and I'm like, oh man, this is I don't know if this is the right room for me. It's probably a technical term I don't know about, but also these people might be crazy. What did I pay for? So, and it's kind of a nice awakening, because I realize that like these are people that they know what they're doing. There's no pumping going on. It's just motionless, just facts. And I'm like, all right, this sucks, because now I'm going to have to pay all this money to do CTU. And it's really way easier just to keep doing the penny stock thing on the subreddit. But this probably is a better decision. So I went with the CTU all in, and I was just like, all right, it's house money anyway. So made $2,000, spent it on education. Cool how that works out. And that's just like the same price. And
that is pretty neat how, I mean, it's amazing though how the human mind works. Is actually I take it back. At this point, did you acknowledge that AVXL in your mind? Was that luck? Had you acknowledged that at that point, or is that still? Did you attribute that to skill at that point in the timeline?
This is hard to say, but I really think I thought it was probably skill. I was thinking I was just hot stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Well then, what was it? Because if that was skill, then why would you ever pay $2,000 for education if that was skill? I mean, this is actually kind of fascinating. Because if you had told me, by this point I admitted it was luck, therefore I didn't know what I was doing, so I needed an education. But if at that point in time you're sitting there saying, no, I got skill, then why did you? I mean, what was it? What was the voice in your head that really got you to actually invest into your education? If you thought that whole, the whole $2,000 winning was all skill.
Well, I never really put much stock into. It's funny. No, it's not. I never really put much stock into like people educating other people on their particular, for you it's trading. And because why would you want to teach other people? That's not in your self-interest. It's if you're really, really good at something, why on earth would you ever want to make it harder for yourself to do that thing? So, I saw like Sykes, way back when I first got started, and I'm like, this guy is a clown. And when I saw him, I thought, okay, everyone who teaches stocks is a clown, because there's no way that it just doesn't make any sense. So, why would you want to decrease the pool of suckers to get paid from? That just doesn't make any sense. And if you were, I don't know. So that's kind of where my mind was. But I don't want to inflate your ego too much. I don't want to like pat you on the back.
Don't worry,
I
it'll get deflated very quickly as soon as I go into the lounge chat room with everybody always giving me a hard time.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah. Nate Wilson, you up, man? Um, also, I'm in the chat rooms like all the time, but I just never say anything. So
you need to
probably
start
kinda
talking.
creepy.
You're a clever little fella, so you need to definitely start to chime in with your wit. I have a feeling you could put Nate Wilson in his place real quick if it was if it was needed. So,
All right. So I have no idea what we were talking about. Sorry.
and what were we talking about? We were talking about. Oh yeah, I was asking about why did you invest in education, and you're saying,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, it had sunk in. I've probably been doing this close to a year now, and it just kind of sunk in that like this is not sustainable. I'm just in a wash. I mean, I made $2,000, and I guess maybe I didn't think it was all skill, but I just knew that if no one was on Reddit, I couldn't make a trade, and it was a bad feeling. So, and your videos came off as like he doesn't really care. He likes charts, and he's just doing his thing. And if you buy his stuff, whatever. It doesn't matter. And so it was kind of genuine, and I'm kind of the same way. If you want to do your thing, and you don't have to like, I don't know. It just seemed like very laid back and chill, and like doesn't really matter. It's just I like charts, whether you buy my stuff or not. I still like charts, and whether or not you buy my stuff has no effect on whether or not I like charts.
I think that's a perfect summation of kind of my philosophy is, yeah, charts are cool. I think they work. If you think they're crap, that's fine. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
I'll still hang out with you, whatever. We'll just agree to disagree. And that's, I have my buttons that can be pushed that drive me nuts. But I mean, for the most part, yeah, it is what it is, So you joined CTU. So, I mean, did you ever take the penny stock course?
Yeah, that was the first course I took. And
I'm assuming that opened your eyes kind of quite a bit to what the heck have I been doing?
Yeah, it completely flushed all the Kool-Aid out. And I'll be honest, it didn't flush the Kool-Aid from AVXL because, like I said, 2 weeks ago, I just realized. I don't know even what I was thinking about. I just realized I was in the dump, and I was like, "Oh my god, it was a pump and dump." 5 months after the fact, 6 months after the fact, it was a pump and dump. How could I be so? I don't know. But I took the penny stock survival guide, and from that point on, I was just kind of done with pennies. And I know that's not your purpose with the penny stock survival guide, but after I took some of your other courses, robotic trading and skill sharpening, and we started, I was learning about the bullish rivers and whatnot, and the overall trends and stuff, and it was hard for me to do anything with pennies, even if it was a good setup, because I'm thinking all of these fail. So in the grand scheme of things, it's still bearish. And so even if it had a really nice, I just psychologically I couldn't do it because it's going to zero eventually. So.
And I'm sure as you're learning and have learned, there's so many other opportunities out there besides penny stocks for people with smaller accounts. It's not like you have to use penny stocks if you have a smaller account. There's this thing called options out there and so on and so forth. So you take where are you at right now? Are you still going through the courses, or have you made it through, or which courses have you taken?
Right now, as it stands, I've taken penny stock survival guide, robotic trading, skill sharpening, level 2, and I'm I've started the option simplified, but I don't really know if I'm kind of ready for that yet, because honestly, that whole year where I was trading is just wasted. I didn't learn a single thing. So if you kind of look at it like that, I have no experience in trading, even though I did it for a year. It's completely null and void, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I have taken those, and I've actually stopped trading. Well, as of yesterday, on Friday, Apple dropped down to 92.50, and I mean, come on, you can't. I don't know. I wasn't going to trade it, but then I was like, it's 92.50. It's just so easy. But anyway, other than that, I'm very disciplined, and I haven't traded because I'm not ready yet. Because in your podcast, I've listened to all the podcasts, and I love the podcast because instead of trading when I know I shouldn't be, because the more you learn, the more you realize, like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I can't believe I was trading before, I took robotic trading, and it was actually a little bit of a mixed effect because, I took, once I learned about bullish trends, and I was like, wow, I have the holy grail to trading now. I'm going to go try it out. And, despite all of everyone's attempts, you go in the chat room, you listen to the podcast, you just, like, tell your mom what you're going to do, and she'll probably say, wow, that's really dumb. But I was like, well, I know about bullish trends now, so I'm going to go play HMY, and actually that one worked out well, and I didn't know it at the time. Oh, and I've taken RVR too.
Okay, I was gonna suggest. Well, you might want to get to that one. So okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, HMY.
But at the time, I didn't take RVR, though I did actually manage the trade really well. I had a nice stop loss, and it was just kind of luck. I guess I was just kind of being cautious because I didn't want to. It was in the, I was like secretively trading, like, I hope Clay doesn't find me trading when I'm not ready to be trading. I just
I want to give you credit though. You actually used a totally different word than when we first started. You're being what? Did you say cautious?
I was being a little cautious.
I could have sworn that when we first got started, you were using the word frantic. So
Yes.
through all this, you've gone from frantic to cautious. Hey, you are in an uptrend, my friend. If that's not an uptrend, then I don't know what is. But from the trading psychology, that summarizes everything perfectly so far. You use the word frantic, and now all of a sudden you're cautious. So yeah, you're making trades, but subconsciously you can tell you're already, your psychology is already changing because you at least understood to be cautious. And that's funny. Like, I do own a ladder, Charlie. So sometimes I go out to Colorado and I put it on traders' windows, and I'll climb up and I'll look in people's windows. So always check your window before you put on a trade you shouldn't be, because I could be looking in. So
yeah, and to be honest, that's exactly why it was so well managed, because I was listening to the podcast, and it's really easy to not make emotional trades when you're listening to the podcast. That's all. Like, when I'm at work and I'm doing something where I have an opportunity to be trading, I just listen to the podcast because it's so easy to learn from other people's mistakes rather than losing a bunch of money. It discourages you from doing things that are stupid. So I did the HMY thing, did pretty well, but then I got greedy, and I was like, I made $200 on this trade. I just want to go all in. Yeah, this is boring. I'm just unsatisfied with where I'm at right now. I mean, school is fun, but it just needs to move faster. But I was doing this monotonous work on the lathe. I work in a machine shop, and I was kind of like in autopilot mode. You're just kind of doing the process. And so luckily I couldn't put on a trade because I was working with my hands, and I had time to just kind of take a step back and think. And I'm like, all right, why do I feel the need to put $8,000, which is all of my money? I mean, it's at this point, I still haven't put any of it back into my bank. That's all of my money. Why do I want to put it into HMY? I went through the school. I know what this is. I'm not completely naive anymore. And you walk yourself through the steps. All right, so if I put $8,000 in, let's say it goes up double, am I going to be happy? And the answer is no, and that is interesting probably if you never put on a trade, but it's greed. It's an emotion. It doesn't care about percentage gains. When you feel like that just overcome with greed, that you want to put your entire account in this because you want to be rich, you will never be satisfied, because you can have 100% gainer, and greed is just not logical. It's an emotion. It's a feeling. So all it knows is more, and it just wants more. And once you have 16 grand, what are you going to do with that? Well, that's still not enough you can't even buy a nice sports car with that. God, it's going too slow. So and at that point was really when I was like, all right, I'm experiencing greed heavily. Like, this is almost like an alcoholic that wants to have a drink or something. I don't know, but it was like all I wanted to do. And if I don't put all in, I'm not satisfied because I'm leaving money on the table. So I stopped trading after that until Friday, except for Friday because Apple went to 92.50. But
Charlie, if this was in person now, I would be hugging you so tight and probably weeping on your shoulder. That's by far the best definition I've ever heard of greed. Greed always wants more. Exactly. And then it's like, okay, so now you can buy a car because you doubled your money. But now, like you said, the car doesn't go fast enough, so I need more. So then, yeah. I mean, you're right. You're never going to be satisfied if that's your mindset. So I mean, I'm trying not to cry over here, Charlie. That was that was brilliant. That was absolutely one of the most brilliant rants on greed that I've ever heard. That summarizes it perfectly. For you listeners, please rewind and listen to all that again. But that's great. You literally sat down and had a little meeting with yourself, and you diagnosed all that, and that was the outcome. I'm never going to be happy if greed is the main motivator here. I mean, that's awesome. I wish Chezz was here so I could, usually I cry on his shoulder, but can I use your shoulder instead? I mean, that's fantastic stuff there. So, all right. So HMY, and then you had Apple, like you said. But Apple, given the courses you've taken, yes, I know you said you're not going to trade and all that sort of stuff, and it's important to follow those rules, but given that what you've learned, and then I know what you mean. I know why you took the trade that you did, just because, so I'm not saying that's okay that you broke that rule, but I do kind of see the logic there of, you're not totally ignorant anymore in terms of what to look for in a chart and all that sort of good stuff. So, I mean, I guess, where are you at right now where it stands? Are you still focused on stocks, or are you maybe looking to try to get into options? What are tell us where you're at right this moment, and then where your kind of goals are to go from this point.
Right now, aside from this Apple trade, I'm still not trading. I'm tricking myself into thinking I'm a disciplined person. Because I don't know. I don't feel like I'm really ready to.
Are you paper trading right now?
I actually haven't even started paper trading.
Okay. Okay.
Can
I give you some advice then?
Yes.
Because you just said I don't really feel like I'm a disciplined trader. Well, if you start paper trading, remember to keep it realistic, of course. But if you keep it realistic as you paper trade, then you're going to start to now. Of course, if you just blow stuff up, and it sounds like you're good at being honest with yourself in terms of, okay, I know my emotions. But if you're being realistic, if you're being honest with yourself, and you see, wow, yeah, I'm definitely not disciplined because I keep forcing a bunch of stupid trades. But if you're actually having success, now it's not going to translate 100% to real money. But from outside looking in, I would say if you just start paper trading realistically, then that's going to be a great way to, because right now it's a theory, right? You're theorizing, I'm not a disciplined trader. Well, that's just theory. Why don't you actually put some data to that? So I think you should start paper trading is what I'm getting at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does. And, right now, the only thing that's really holding me back is school is very hectic.
Just drop out of school. You don't need
Yeah,
school.
I'll just drop out of school.
Yeah.
It's actually conveniently enough.
Yeah.
Conveniently enough, it's over next week, so I don't think I'll be dropping out. But after that, I will have much more time to allocate to trading and just to start paper trading and kind of just get a feel for things, because it's a loose understanding. I don't know. I've taken all the courses, but I need to take them again. I don't know. You got to solidify it.
I assure you, paper trading really starts to, that'll be the glue that starts to bring all the kind of loose pieces together, because you'll see things, you'll come up with your ideas beforehand based on what you've learned, and then you'll see how things play out. And there you can kind of then reverse engineer it. Now, did I miss something? But yeah, that makes sense. You got other time commitments, but yeah, when school's over, I think paper trading is going to do you quite a bit. Now, do you want to get into options at all, or is that kind of even a little bit too far out to even like kind of look at that as a goal?
I would love to do options, because I have listened to 50 plus of these podcasts now, and options just sound amazing. And I've taken the first introduction things and the options thing, but I've just kind of gone back because I don't understand charts well enough, and it's all based around, do you think you know whether the price is going to go up or down? And being really honest with myself, I feel like I could probably be a little better at that, but eventually I'd love to trade options. That's probably my final goal at the moment.
Okay. And that's definitely where, not that you're like totally dirt poor or anything, but yeah, for the smaller accounts, I would definitely say that's probably a good way to go. But what are any of the, I'm trying to think, how do I want to phrase this? Do you have any kind of glaring weaknesses right now that you still want to work on? Or do you think you've kind of at least diluted everything to the point of an understanding? Or is there just something out there that you still really want to work on? Because I think listeners are going to be fascinated that you're not even starting paper trading yet. So maybe somebody can relate to maybe something that they're not even aware of that you've kind of noticed in yourself, or because you're good at self-diagnosing yourself, it seems. So, I mean, is there anything that's still kind of like a big thorn out there that you really want to try to squash?
The general, this is going to be such a horrible answer because it's so vague, but just the lack of experience. I mean, it's just really, there's nothing that can make up for that, really. You can take the courses 15 times, but you need to do something. And I just haven't had the time to really, and it's another thing that you have to put time into this. It's treated like a business, For the last year, I've been thinking that, this is something I do on my phone when my boss isn't looking. And now it is like, people have rituals that they do before, trading day, and they'll do research at night. And it's like, wow, are you telling me I actually have to, you can't just master this in your spare time? You'd have to actually commit to this? It's crazy. I had no idea. So yeah, the lack of experience.
You said, so right now I'm not doing anything, but keep in mind, doing nothing is doing something. And doing nothing is what you should be doing right now, because you just flat out don't have the experience. So I would say that's more of a strength, not a weakness, with all that, because at least you're smart enough, except Apple. So smack your hand there. But at least you're smart enough to know that doing nothing is doing something. So well done there. I'm looking at the time, and this I don't know where the time went, but so this is fascinating. So I want to ask you one more thing. So let me ask. Well, you haven't really started paper trading yet, so we can't really go there. But here's a good one. Personality, characteristics. What do you think is a personality or trait that really does need to be associated with somebody if they're going to want to succeed as, in this business? And, what are you learning is that key core, personality trait that you're going to need going forward to really succeed?
I'm going to go with perseverance on this one, because there are so many times when, after losing trade, or maybe you just haven't made a trade in a long time and you just feel like a failure because, what do you mean you're a trader? You haven't traded in like 2 weeks, or maybe your standards, you haven't traded today, and that makes you feel horrible. But you have to persevere, and whether you do that by, I don't know, Ricky from a podcast said he watched motivational videos, and that's awesome. I do that too. And even though it's really corny, you watch a motivational video, you feel like you're going to run through a brick wall, and you go and slam some courses, and, just because, you lose your confidence and you lose your motivation. And then you're like, do I even want to do this? And Chezz, actually, which he sucks, by the way, for not being here.
I agree.
And, but in podcasts before, he was actually talking about how passionate he was about, trading when he first got into it. And I'll be like, wow, man, this guy, I just feel it. Woo, I'm just pumped up. I'm ready to go. Chezz, yeah, woo. So I'm, ready to go. I don't know. You just have to persevere through all the points where you just think, like, am I smart enough to do this? I have no idea if I am capable. And another thing that helps me is that and I'm not saying that you're dumb, you've admitted this yourself. You have said that you are not a rocket surgeon.
No, genius. I'm not. Like I said, I was on the 5-year college plan. So, it's not like I was some genius that got through college at age 16 in like 2 years. So 2 plus 2 is 7, right? That's the math.
Yeah, exactly.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to double check, but I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, no, that's a great answer. And I like what you said about, without confidence, you're not going to have motivation, or without motivation, you're not going to have confidence. What did you say? Do you remember? Because it was a good quote. I guess it can go either way. It's kind of interchangeable, but that's true. If you don't have confidence, you're not going to have much motivation. But at the same time, it's going to be hard to get motivation if you don't have much confidence in kind of what you're doing. So, yeah, I'm all for I'm all for whatever works for your personal psychology. And you've heard us say it before on podcasts, but if you're listening and you've never traded a stock before, then you just don't quite understand the voices that exist in our heads and stuff like that. But everybody has them. It's just a matter of, are you in a career field that actually brings them out? So yeah, any sort of tool to get the voices in our favor, I'm all for it. So I know you're aware of this because you've listened to many of the podcasts at least, but Chezz has a time machine, and we've been ripping on him quite a bit, but he was nice enough to let me borrow it. So if I lent to you Chezz's time machine and you can go back to the start, what would be that one bit of advice that you'd give yourself?
Now, before I tell you what I'm going to tell myself, I want to just express how just devastated I am, because I've listened to all the podcasts, and I was really looking forward to figuring out if Chezz's time machine was like a DeLorean type thing, or like, was it like a phone booth, or like, what is it? And he's not here, and dude, you're letting me down, and I don't know, man, whatever.
I said, look, Charlie's going to be heartbroken. He said, I don't care about Charlie. So, no, he didn't say that. He did not. I totally made that up. Anyway, so yeah, what would you tell yourself?
I would say I would go back right to when I funded those accounts, and I would say, hey, just so you know, probably start selling THCZ right around 28 cents. Close your accounts. You get a nice chunk of change now. Here's ClayTrader. Stop. Just stop everything. I don't care. You're a stupid kid. That is why people hate young people, because you just think you can do everything without any experience. And so you're being disrespectful to everyone who's like mastered this throughout their lifetimes, thinking you can just jump in here. Just stop. Sell THCZ at 28 cents. Go to ClayTrader.com, get some education, and come talk to me in a year. I don't know.
I like that. Most people just say, I wish I would have gotten educated. But you took a wise approach. You said, well, let me first get that trade in, because I know where the peak is going to be. So if I sell at the peak, then I'll have money to go invest in education. So that was tricky. Like I said, you're clever. That was a clever little way to approach that question. So well done. Well, now we're going to move into some fun questions. So what is your favorite movie?
So this it's funny because you listen to the podcast and you think, wow, no one ever has an answer for this. Like I'll have an answer. I'll definitely have an answer. By the time it's my turn, I'll definitely have an answer. But I still don't have an answer. So my safe answer is going to be Napoleon Dynamite because I just love stupid movies where nothing really happens in the movie. It's just kind of you're done with it and you're kind of like, what was all of that about? I don't know.
That's a first, and that's a great summary because that movie, you watch it and you're like, I was entertained, but there was nothing happening in that movie. Yeah. So good answer. What about I say Colorado, fine. You were giving me a hard time about it, but what do you like to eat out in Colorado?
Oh, in Colorado, you got lots of good food. Don't you know? This is a question I'm very passionate about. So let me just start here.
No. I'm gonna rephrase this. Since you like that 10,000 calorie challenge video, what would be your approach to 10,000 calories? What sort of foods would you use to get there?
Oh man. Okay, so for breakfast, and you know what? Now that I'm probably gonna end up doing this eventually. So just I hope we're friends in like a year.
Make a video of it. You should definitely make a video of it.
Will do. I'd probably go with your approach with the Krispy Kreme for breakfast, and since we're not gonna do meals here because it's all just one giant meal throughout the day, there's a place in Colorado, on 21st Street and Highway 24 called Alfonso's. And they have the best fish tacos in the entire world, and I'd probably have 2 of those. And then I'd go run up a mountain in Colorado and come back down and go back to Alfonso's, and I'd get their Don Poncho, which is like this 5-pound burrito thing. And I'd have that. It was pretty good, but, I mean, it's a little much. And then, man.
I'd say you're probably about 7,500 calories at this point, so you still got about 2,500 calories to go.
Homemade chicken and waffles is so good, but no one's going to make that for me, so I'll just go to McDonald's. And I'd just probably finish off with like McDoubles or something. I don't know. It's kind of cheap, but I mean, McDoubles just go down like nothing, and they're probably like 500 calories a piece, so.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. That was the one downside of that challenge was trying to plan things out. You're like, holy crap, this stuff is so unhealthy. No wonder why like this country is one of the fattest in the world when you have – one Krispy Kreme glazed is 200 calories. Think about that. 200 calories. That's crazy.
Now you didn't have yours like hot off the press because I mean I don't know why you wouldn't do that. It's like literally eating a cloud. Like you don't even know it.
Well, I put them in the microwave though. If you put them in the microwave, you can get them pretty close to the cloud-like consistency. Not quite as like right off the conveyor belt, but very very close. So
fair enough.
Yeah. But all right, well we could talk food for a while, but what do you like to do for hobbies? Outside of the market and outside of, whatever, or our school, I'm assuming school's not a hobby, but what do you like to do?
I'm not really that much of an exciting person. We can go climb up a mountain or something because, Colorado has mountains, and you can hang out with friends and, I don't know, just shoot the breeze and watch TV or play a board game. I don't know. I'm really, really a boring person. I'll tinker on cars and stuff, but not that exciting. It was cooler in high school.
I would agree. I've been bored this whole time, so you're pretty boring.
Yeah, he's been, I don't know, you guys can't see this, but he's just been rubbing his eyes the whole time and sighing and yawning, putting his arms up and stretching. He actually just left for a while.
That one time when I did the pose where I acted like I was looking down, I was actually asleep that whole time. So, I mean, that's...
that was like half an hour.
Yeah. But no, obviously I wouldn't have said that if I really thought that. So I'm having a good time here. But we should probably wrap this sucker up. So 3 words, and you can't use perseverance, but 3 words that you would associate with what is required to be a successful trader.
Respect the market.
Respect the market. Wow. Did you watch the video I did about the guy that lost $80,000?
No, I haven't watched that yet, but I was in the...
You should watch that because that's very ironic because...
Really?
Yeah, that like the whole theme of that movie is respect. I thought you were trying to be clever again and you would watch that, but that's weird. We'll link that in the show notes, but yeah, there was a video that I did where ClayTrader Mail episode where somebody, lost a lot of money, and that was the theme that I took was you got to respect the market. So spooky but cool, Charlie. So well done. Well, Charlie, like I said, you are out in Colorado. So it was 8 o'clock for you in the morning when we got started, and it's a Saturday. So thank you very much for doing this on a Saturday and hanging out.
Do I say something now?
Yeah, you could say something. That's fine. Yeah, that was my way of. I mean, I was hoping you would rip on Chezz.
Oh,
do you want to have any final words for Chezz?
I mean, I'm just so disappointed. I don't know. Dude, like, when else are we going to be able to just hang out? I'm not flying down to Colorado or California. I can tell you that right now. You better get over here to Colorado. I don't know. We can have some fish burritos or fish tacos.
Yeah, he's trying to get in shape for his wedding that's coming up. So some mountain climbing, that'd be a good leg workout. So, and now when I ask you this, I do expect you to say something like "you're welcome" or something like that. So thank you very much for being here and taking some time out of your day.
Thank you so much.
All right. So for you listeners out there, if you enjoyed today's hangout with Charlie, then click that like button if you're listening on YouTube, or if you're listening on iTunes, leave us a rating. Really, those go the longest way. And then if you are listening on the website, leave us a comment and click that share button. Little clicks of that, like that, really do go a long way, and let us know that we're not wasting our time doing these things. So thank you again to all you listeners out there. We'll see you back for the next episode.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the ClayTrader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit ClayTrader.com.